DeKalb County 2014 Transportation Plan, Progress Through Unity. This presentation provides an overview of the planning process for DeKalb County's 2014 Transportation Plan update. Once completed, the revised transportation plan will identify the most critical transportation projects for the county. Updates to the transportation plan occur every 4 to 5 years. This planning process will cost $1.25 million and will be jointly paid for by the Atlanta Regional Commission and DeKalb County. The Atlanta Regional Commission will pay for 80% of the total cost, while DeKalb County will pay for the remaining 20%. The plan will be developed over the remainder of 2013 and will be finalized in the spring of 2014. This process is important because without a clear list of priorities, the county could potentially lose money from state and federal resources. Paying for transportation infrastructure can be complex, and a clear transportation plan will help keep projects moving within the county. Despite the complexities involved, we'd like for this process to be as transparent as possible. There will be contact information displayed at the end of this presentation. It can also be found on the project website. Feel free to submit questions at any time. Something that's important to bring up early on is the concept of unity. You may have noticed that the project logo is comprised of human-like figures with interlocking arms. This image represents the transportation planning process. The people of DeKalb County will need to work together to identify clear priorities and develop a plan that's right for everyone. At the end of the process, the county CEO and county commission will need to approve the plan. It will be important that the plan takes a balanced approach that respects the diversity of views and needs within the county in order for that adoption to be successful. This will be a county-wide effort that includes the transportation systems needed to provide people with access to other parts of the county and to the surrounding region. Every roadway that is defined by the county as a collector and above will be evaluated, so not every local street or major interstates will be included. Additionally, the plan will examine access for pedestrians and cyclists. The plan will also consider MARTA and express bus transit. The cities of DeKalb will be engaged in this process by incorporating their existing plans and by coordinating with representatives from their local governments. Many of the cities already have local transportation plans developed, but the cities that do not have existing plans in place will be coordinating with them to incorporate their needs. Transportation modes. This transportation plan will take a balanced approach. It will consider many different modes of transportation. This will mean specifically transit, including both bus and rail transit, bicycles, pedestrians, vehicles, freight, including truck and rail, and the DeKalb Peachtree Airport. Who's involved? Members of the public and elected officials, stakeholder committees, project management team, consultant team. As we go through this process, it's important to understand who will influence the transportation plan as it's being developed. Ultimately, the plan will need support from a broad public base, and it will need to be voted on by publicly elected officials. The county commissioners and the CEO need to adopt the plan in order for it to be effectively implemented. That adoption will be helped if there's plenty of public support. It is not expected that everyone will agree with everything that gets included in the plan. It is important, though, that citizens generally see a value in the whole plan, even if they each individually would do some things differently. In addition to the public and the elected officials, there are 2 stakeholder committees which will help guide the development of the plan using a more hands-on approach. These stakeholders have been selected based on their technical background or their roles within the community. We'll discuss these groups in more detail in a moment. The project management team, which is made up of department leaders from DeKalb County and representatives from the Atlanta Regional Commission, will administer the process and keep things moving along on the target schedule. There's also a consultant team that will be helping to facilitate much of the process, including data collection and analysis, public involvement, and general project coordination. Public outreach. Public outreach will be a major part of this process. As previously stated, the plan will need to be adopted by elected county officials, so broad public input will be very important. There are several ways in which the public can stay involved. The first is through our public meetings. There will be 3 rounds of public meetings over the course of the project. Each round will consist of the same content being presented in multiple locations around the county. The kickoff meetings have already occurred and were held in February of 2013. This presentation is a summary of what was presented in those meetings. The existing conditions and needs assessment meetings will be held in April 2013. Those will include information on the existing transportation system and will allow participants to comment on needs that they see within the county, both now and into the future. The draft recommendations meetings will occur in the fall of 2013 and will allow participants to comment on draft project recommendations. The comments received during these meetings will ultimately influence which projects are prioritized in the final plan. The existing conditions and needs assessment meetings and the draft recommendations meetings will also be held in a live online format for those people that are unable to attend the actual physical meetings in person. There will also be focus group meetings for several key issues that deserve a little more attention than is able to be provided in a larger public meeting format. One example of a focus group issue is likely to be mobility for older adults, since they have specific access considerations that deserve specific attention within our system. There will also be coordination with surrounding communities, since we know transportation does not stop at the county line. We'll be implementing a statistically valid public opinion survey in order to gauge community preferences when choices need to be made. Additionally, there will be several consistent outlets for information through the project website, Facebook, and Twitter accounts. And there will also be newsletters published periodically along the way. Stakeholder committees. There are 2 stakeholder groups that will assist in guiding the plan at a more hands-on level. These will include the Technical Advisory Committee, or TAC, as well as the Community Advisory Committee, or CAC. The Technical Advisory Committee is made up of representatives from state and regional agencies, DeKalb County cities, and DeKalb County departments. These representatives will provide a technical perspective for the plan as it is being developed. The Community Advisory Committee will provide a somewhat less technical perspective, but it will be no less important for the plan. This group is made up of representatives from the business community, neighborhoods, schools, and organizations that represent the aging, cyclists, pedestrians, and minorities. The concept of unity is central to the development of the transportation plan, and the Community Advisory Committee will need to act as a sounding board for their groups during the process. Plan, vision, and goals. One of the first elements to be developed for the plan are the plan vision and goals. A good vision statement and a resulting set of goals will help guide the development of the plan and will help with the selection of priority projects. The process was started with the stakeholder committees in January 2013, when stakeholder representatives were asked to brainstorm different values that should be incorporated into the plan. They considered the goals of the previous DeKalb County Transportation Plan, the current Comprehensive Land Use Plan, the Atlanta Regional Commission's Transportation and Land Use Plan, and the Partnership for Sustainable Communities, a national initiative. Visioning process. Several key words and phrases emerged from that session that were fairly consistent from all of the stakeholder representatives, as can be seen by the largest words. This included words like connectivity, safety, sustainability, funding, multimodal, and economic development. Draft vision statement. The DeKalb County Transportation Plan is intended to improve mobility for all people, enhance quality of life, facilitate economic vitality, focus on implementation. Let's take a look at each of those individually for a moment. Improve mobility for all people. The 2 key parts are mobility and all people. Through this transportation plan, it is important to make sure that we include all modes of transportation and that we consider all types of people who rely on our transportation system, particularly being mindful of groups that may have specific needs. Enhance quality of life. This includes safety, aesthetics, health, and sustainability. Facilitate economic development. This item will include access to jobs, access to schools, movement of freight, and enabling continued economic growth. Focus on implementation. This item came up over and over in our stakeholder meeting and the subsequent public kickoff meetings. Some key concepts that fall underneath this item include funding, maintenance of existing infrastructure, prioritization of projects, government trust, and strong community engagement. Please go onto our website and review the entire draft vision and goals. If you have comments, please email them to us so we can consider your thoughts as we develop the finalized version of the vision and goals. Why are goals important? It is inevitable that there will be more transportation needs and projects identified in this process that we as a county will be able to pay for. Therefore, the vision and goals will be a tool we can use to make choices. If values are not included in the vision and goals, then projects that represent those values cannot be prioritized in the final plan. For example, if we choose not to include transit as a priority in our vision and goals, then transit projects will end up being a lower priority than other types of projects in the final plan. Why it's important. In conclusion, it's important to revisit one more time why a transportation plan of this scale is being developed in the first place. In short, it's because we have limited resources, and there will not be enough money to do everything that we will want to do for our transportation system. This planning process will facilitate the selection of choices within our county, and some of these choices may be difficult. But once we have a unified plan, DeKalb County will be better positioned to compete with the rest of the region and the rest of the state for state and federal funds. With a strong transportation plan, we can also more efficiently and more equitably manage our own local funds when constructing new projects. That's progress through unity. So what are some key next steps in the process, and how can you stay involved? During the spring of 2013, we'll be studying the existing transportation network and looking at previous studies that have already been completed. From there, we'll perform an analysis of current and future transportation needs in order to better understand how we can improve our transportation process. In the fall of 2013, we'll be drafting a long list of projects from which to begin the process of prioritization. Through technical analysis, stakeholder involvement, and public feedback, some projects will fall to the bottom while some projects will rise to the top. After the draft list has been vetted through the public and the stakeholders, the final plan can go to the elected officials for final review, comment, and adoption. If you'd like to stay involved, please check in regularly on our project website, and please contact us through Facebook, Twitter, or our project email address. You can also request to be added to our general list of email recipients. Thank you for participating in this online presentation.